but you see the possibilities of what I can be.
And welcome back to Red Card. I'm your host, Anthony Totera. Thanks again to Joey Alfieri of TSN 690 in Montreal. We talked about Alberto Gilardino possibly signing on with the Montreal Impact. Leo Molinelli of Omni News, thanks to him as well. We continued on that talk. But right now, as we talked about all day, all week, I got ready, pumped and primed for the first ever CPL Fantasy Draft. 20 players, all Canadian. You choose out there. Tweet me at @4Totera. I'd love to hear your roster. No premium guys, as I said. No Kyle Lauren, no Atiba Hutchinson. They're going to stay in their leagues, and they're going to succeed, and they're going to be making big, big money, and CPL will not be their destination. Joining us right now, two guys who have, I'm sure, their list ready to rock and roll. A first-timer in Colin Elmes. He is owner of TSS Academy from out west. Colin, welcome, my friend.
Thanks for having me, Anthony.
Hey, it's all my pleasure. Thank you for joining us. John Eden joins us right now from Canucks Abroad, and this guy here does an outstanding job on really letting all the Canadian supporters out there know where all these young Canadian players are all over the world. John, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Pleasure's all mine, and keep up the great work that you are doing. So, gentlemen, here we go. We're going to have 20 players apiece. I will start first. I will do 5. Then you'll do 5, Colin. Then you'll do 5, John. And we'll do it at 5 segments apiece until we hit 20. And then right at the end, I'll give you a dark horse, a guy that you believe out of the 20 that we all need to watch and have our eye on, that he will be a game breaker of whoever you want to select. So here I go. Here are my first 5 on my first team list. I'll do 2, 1 here with this group and 1 in the next group. So here we go. Goalkeeper, Quinlan Roberts, my first choice. Goalkeeper, Roberto Stilo. Goalkeeper, John Smits. Next, Manjakar James. Next, Amir Didic. Those are my 5. Next, Colin, your 5.
Sure. I'm as you announced, I'm a West Coast guy. Involved in the PDL for the season. I'm going with people that I see in front of me. In goal, Chad Bush. In goal, Andrew Hicks. In goal, Dylan Powley. Center back, Andre Bears. Center back, Callum Montgomery.
Outstanding, Colin. So those are your first 5 picks. John, we move on to you. Your first 5.
All right, so since I am the Canucks Abroad guy, I try to select the players from all around the world. I leave the North American guys to you, with maybe 1 or 2 exceptions. So let's start with the goalkeepers. Tomer Chinsinski, David Monsal, Julian Latendras-Levesque, and then my first 2 defenders are Christian Gutierrez and Carl Lumet.
I like one of those goalkeepers that I didn't have in my mix. Well done. My next 5. Here we go. Al James. Adonijah Reed. Richie Laria. Chris Manella. And Chris Nanko. Well, those are my 5. You're up, Colin.
Couple guys at the back, couple guys in midfield. At the back, Eric DeGraff. Currently at the University of Portland. Janko Vong, currently at the University of Alberta. I'm going to take both Adam and Kyle Jones, both at Simon Fraser University, both been playing in the PDL for several years, one with Seattle, one with Calgary. And Ale Mousse.
Yeah, Ale Musi I've heard of. Well done. I like those picks on your end there, John. We'll turn now to you, John. We'll talk to you. I meant to say, Colin, good picks on your end. We'll move now to you, John, your picks.
All right, so 4 defenders are left, and then I'm starting with midfielders. So I got Daniel Staniz, Manreka James, as you mentioned, Donnell Henry, Luca Gasparato, and my first midfielder is Charlie Trafford.
Well done. And I was thinking of Daniel Henry too. I'm just a bit concerned of his injuries, but he's another guy that I had on the top of my mind. My next 5, here we go. Mark Anthony K, Kyle Becker, Drew Becky, Alessandro Rigi, and Manny Aparicio. Those are my 5. Not in any specific position order. I'm going to mix it all up. That's up to you out there to decide. If you like my picks, you don't, no problem. If you like Colin's picks, if you don't, no problem. The same thing for John. But we'd like to hear from you out there. We're just having some fun. As I said, I invited Colin because he really knows the guys from the West Coast. And I invited John because he knows everyone all over the world in Canadian players. And then, as I said, in the second half, we'll have Steve Sandor, bright Canadian mind. He knows a lot of the guys. And as well, we'll have Aaron Nielsen, a guy that is a statistician and knows a lot of the guys in all parts of the world. So my next 5, here we go. Emery Welshman, Kanija Elva, Charlie Trafford, Leaford Allen, and Dylan Carrero. Colin, you're on the clock.
My guys are various positions. Ajij Sakaria, Nico Pasquati, Marcello Polisi, Zach Verhoeven, and a dark horse, a refugee from South Sudan who is now in the Vancouver area named William Raphael.
Interesting stuff. I want to talk to you a little bit more about that dark horse. Tell us a little bit about that dark horse and where he's at right now. Where's he playing at?
He actually walked up to an open tryout at Simon Fraser University about a year ago, and he at the open tryouts they generally have kind of lesser capable players, and this kid just jumped right out at them. And he is currently trying to establish his NCAA eligibility. So he's not playing with SFU yet, but he trained with our PDL team for the entire season, and he is a player.
Outstanding. Those are stories I love to hear. It just gets the hairs on your arms standing up because you love to hear stories like that and success down the road for a young man like that. John, give us a dark horse. Give us someone that you believe we need to watch out for from your list.
This isn't really a dark horse, but someone that people may have forgotten about, and that's Randy Advini Bonzu.
Okay, yes.
Who was in the national team picture a few years ago, and he played in the 3rd division in Germany. He was really successful in Finland, and finds himself without a club right now. So the CPL would, maybe be a good fit for him.
Outstanding. Colin, just before we let you go, we really appreciate you joining us. Talk to us a little bit about your academy. Talk to us about all the good things that are taking place out there on the west coast of Canada before we let you go.
Sure. We're just begun our 21st year of operation out here, providing both sort of supplemental training and full-time team destinations for players. We've had over the years Terry Dunfield trained with us when he was a kid. Christine Sinclair was here with us for 3 or 4 years as a teenager. Produced a whole bunch of provincial and lesser known national team players over the years. Just moved our facility, brand new facility. Been in this new one for about a year, and obviously jumped into the PDL last year with our TSS FC Rovers. So everything's moving forward nicely here for us.
And a ton of Canadian players on that roster. I heard nothing but good things. Saw a few clips. Outstanding. And a good job to you and all your staff out there. John, before we let you go, talk about the great work you do. I mean, it's unbelievable the amount of guys that you cover, the amount of guys that you get information on, that you tweet about. I mean, it's a wonderful, wonderful site, and it's great work that you and a couple other guys do. Talk about it.
Yeah, and that part is very important. It is not just me. I created the site a long time ago, a few years ago, but there's seven of us or so who do it. We have someone in Sweden, someone in Portugal, someone in Germany, a couple guys based in Canada, all really passionate about tracking these players. We have to go all across the world to fulfill their dreams. I mean, we have people playing in Guatemala. We've had people playing in Chechnya. It's time that these guys have their own professional league here in Canada.
I couldn't have said it better. And John, let me ask you this very quickly before we let you go. I'm sure there had to be an email or a message from one of these players to say to you, hey, thanks. How did you find out that I was playing down in this country? That must have made your day. Who might have that been? Was there a player or two that sent a note off like that?
Jamer Dixon was someone that got in touch. He played in the lower divisions in Scandinavia. He was quite surprised when I wrote up an article about him, and he's now at the Ottawa Fury. But this kind of stuff happens all the time. People are very appreciative, that we let Canadian soccer fans know that they exist and what they're doing week in, week out.
Well deserved, and I appreciate all the work you do. Thanks for stepping in on last second there, John, because unfortunately, as we said, Dwayne Rollins of the 24th Minute Canadian Soccer News had a family emergency. He couldn't join us tonight. But I thank you both. Colin, keep up the great work. Really appreciate you taking time to join us, and let's hope that CPL gets off the ground very soon so some of those players you mentioned can be on those squads. John, thanks to you again as well.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And there you have it. That is Colin Elmes, owner of TSS Academy, and John Eden of Canucks Abroad. We'll take a quick commercial break. Coming back, Aaron Nielsen, a sports statistician, and Steven Sandor of the 11.ca will get their 20 players. Stay tuned right here on Red Card.
Yeah. Now it's time to forget the past. Oh, Lord, let your...
You see, this neighborhood belongs to me. Everybody out there fears me.
So do I.
My name is Angelo Donatello.
Angelo Donatello and his little band of misfits.
I've been living in the moment.
We've got so much money, we don't know how to spend it all.
I need to see you, G.
You're trouble for me, Angelo.
Sometimes luck runs out.
Who took my money?
What the f did you guys do?
There's a contract on you, Angie.
From who?
Gianluca.
Vito, do what you gotta do.
I'm just too sad.
Welcome to the neighborhood. Tell me who you hang around with, and I'll tell you who you are.
The last thing I remember was my mother saying to me, Jack, Giacomino, ti voglio bene, bedroom, sangue mio. I gave her a kiss, and that was the last time I ever saw my mother. I'll tell you a story. Nobody with our people.
You want to talk to Jack?
I sell speed. I sell adrenaline.
Hey, I got enough trombone players in my band.
How are you, Jack? Everything all right? I love to shoot.
First, what you do is you pull your intestines out of your ass, and you tie them in a Windsor knot around your neck, and then you talk to Jack.
You're a good man.
Make no mistake about it, I'm not a good man. But if you're my friend, and you're my brother, and you're loyal to me, you're gonna tell me first.
I'll put my Beretta to my own head and blow my brains out.
That's good.
It's not over until you say it's over.
Now, I've got some things to talk to you.
Just cash your chips in now while you're still winning. Do you understand me, Jimmy?
One day, you're gonna learn to respect me.
And some rats, you gotta kill.
You're not just one of us. You're family.
I know these guys, you don't. This is not over.
Nothing's gonna happen to you as long as I'm around.
I gave her a kiss, and that was the last time I ever saw my mother.
From the far reaches of the Orient comes an alien.
You're the one that's got the strength, not me.
And welcome back to Red Card. I'm your host, Anthony Totera. Thanks again to Colin Elmes of TSS Academy and John Eden of Canucks Abroad. Guys, thank you so much for your 20-player picks, all Canadians. Thank you so much for making this an outstanding celebration of Canadian players tonight. The first ever CPL Fantasy Draft. And tonight, two others are joining me right now to give their 20 picks. Steven Sandor needs no introduction. The guy knows players from all over the world that are Canadian, and we are going to get his 20 picks in just a moment. Steven, welcome, my friend.
Hi, how are you?
Very good. And joining us as well is the super statistician and follows all sorts of Canadian players, Aaron Nielsen. Aaron, welcome.
Hey, how's it going?
Very good. Great of you to take time to join us. So, guys, here's how we'll do it. I'll give my 5 picks, a whole different 20 than the 20 before. Then I'll let you go, Steve, with your 5, and then Aaron, your 5, and we'll do them in segments of 5. Here we go. Here's my first 5 picks, starting with the goalkeepers. Goalkeeper, Marco Carducci. Goalkeeper, David Monsalve. Goalkeeper, Tristan Henry. And then I have Johnny Grant and Nana Atakora. Steve Sandor, you're on the clock.
Well, I'm going to assume, and I'm making the assumption here that NASL is going to have free agents. So first 2 goalies I'm taking are FC Edmonton's 2 goalies, Nathan Ingham and Tyson Farrago. And then I'm probably going to bring over Dylan Powley, the goalkeeper who might be going to Sweden on trial, was with Calgary Foothills.
Outstanding. And those are your 5 picks, correct, Steve?
Oh, no, those are my 3 keepers.
3 keepers, yep.
And then I'd like to go with Daniel Haber at striker. Guy who's got a lot of experience playing in Israel and Cyprus and is playing in USL right now. And then I'm taking midfield Elijah Adekubi, Sam's kid brother, out of Calgary Foothills, rated one of the top 50 prospects in the PDL.
Interesting, Steve. Daniel Haber, we can get to him a little bit later on if we have some time. If I'm not mistaken, is with Real Salt Lake USL squad. Is that right?
That's correct. He's at the Monarchs.
Outstanding. You're up. Aaron, you're on the clock. You're 5.
My goalkeepers are Dane Sinclair, Darren McLeod, and Jason Beaulieu. And then my 2 first defenders are Kamal Miller and Alex Comisia.
Nice. Outstanding. Some of those guys are on my list, but well done. And those are some interesting young guys in the mix. My next 5, here we go. Cyrus Rolox, Juan Cordova, Joey Mello, Mo Babuli, and Mark Gonzalez. Those are my 5. Steve, you're on the clock.
All right. Starting with defense, I'm going to build in the back. Mason Trafford and Drew Becky would come over. Also, would like to bring in Dominic Russo and Ajij Sarkaria from Calgary Foothills. And then probably looking at Alan Zebby to go in as a fullback midfield utility position.
Outstanding. Aaron, you're on the clock. You're 5.
My next 5 are Robert Boskovic of Ryerson, Marco Bustos, because it looks like he's not going to be with Vancouver anymore, Master Kasher from Colorado Springs, and then 2 guys from Sandor's area, Noah Cunningham from University of Alberta, and Hansen Bokai, who's now playing in Carnice in Italy, Serie C, I believe.
Wow, Aaron, Hansen Bokai, and Steve can talk to that very quickly. He's a guy that's fallen off the radar of a lot of people. He had a lot of promise and a lot of hype, but a lot of people have completely forgot about him. I got to be honest, I did. You, Steve, did you think that he'd be in this draft?
I thought he would get picked by someone as a reclamation project flyer. Thought that, that someone might say that this kid's career can be salvaged. I mean, he would have a hard time, I think, coming back to Canada. And I have all the utmost respect for Hansen as a player, but I think by now coaches have talked around the league and around Canada about some of the discipline problems he's had, whether it be with the Canadian national team or with FC Edmonton or at other levels when he's gone on trial. And I think it's something that's going to haunt him for a while. And I think he has to show that he has to go somewhere and play and keep his nose clean. And if he does that, then maybe those chances will come again. But a player that I hope that can get back on the up and up.
Well said. Aaron, let me ask you about Boskovic. If I'm not mistaken, he came through the TFC system as well, if I recall watching him, and he is a midfielder, correct?
No, he's a central defender.
Central defender.
And he is playing. He's part, I still think TFC might have his rights. He did play with TFC 2 this year, but last year he was the CIS or U Sports Rookie of the Year, and he's still with Ryerson this year as well.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, you mentioned you picked someone from University of Alberta?
Yeah, Noah Cunningham.
Tell us a little bit about him.
Steve might know very well. He was part of the FC Edmonton system, but this summer he played with the Calgary PDL, and the main reason I mention is because he took Didic away from me. So I think he partnered with Didic in the FC Academy, FC Edmonton Academy, and are similar style type of players.
Steve, can you tell us a little bit more about this player? Do you know of him?
Honestly, not too much. I mean, I know he played with Amir back in the day, but that's U of A and FC Edmonton have had some players. I mean, Shamit Shom went to U of A for a year. I think people forget that, and it was playing for FC Edmonton at the same time. The school and the team have a great relationship of sending players back and forth. Bruno Zebi, Alan's brother, has also gone back and forth between. Actually, it might not be U of A. It might have been one of the other schools, but
yeah, he's at U of A as well.
Yeah, that's right.
That's a guy that I completely forgot as well, and we talked a lot about him in the MLS draft, Shamit Showman. Let's hope that he gets picked in this draft, but if not, I'm sure that he could be possibly destined for a CPL club throughout this country. Let's get going here. The next 5, my 5 are as follows. Carl Ouimet, Maxime Tissot, Jordan Muro, Kyle Porter, and Michael Cox. Steve, you're on the clock.
Oh, he just took Michael Cox away from me. Next guy. Has Kyle Becker gone yet?
I can't remember on my other. I think, yeah, I took him on my other list. Yes, he's gone.
Okay. Did Regi go?
He did, but you can pick him again. It's okay.
Okay, because then I'm taking Kyle Becker and Alessandro Regi for the year they're having. I'd also take AJ Gray just for the experience. A guy who's played in Europe a long time, playing in Phoenix right now. Then I'm starting to run out of guys here because who have been picked. You guys have picked a lot of guys who've been on my list as well. So I'm just trying to take off the top of my head a couple of more players that I would probably look at. Maybe someone like Chris Serban out of the Whitecaps too, because I need to help more help on defense. I don't think you can have enough good defenders. I'm like Benito Floro that way, and so I go with Chris Serban. And maybe, like someone like Caden Chung as well, I think, who can play a variety of roles as well, another guy from the Whitecaps.
And what about a guy like a Khalib Clark or a Ben Fisk, Steve?
I hesitated to put Ben Fisk or Nick Ledgerwood on to talk about them. I just think they're in a little bit of a caliber that's a little higher. And, again, it depends on when the league starts. And I don't want to put words in either player's mouth because none of them have said anything officially to me. But the read I get from a lot of the veteran players I've talked to is if the league starts in August or in July, they can't wait around. They're going to go look for other jobs in Europe or somewhere else simply because they can't, they're not making a ton of money. They can't be that many months without a job. So I would definitely have Ben and Nick Ledgerwood on my list in a different world, but I sort of excluded them for the fact that I just think that maybe they don't fit with sort of the parameters of what we're talking about.
Let's move on. The next 5. And listen, Steve, you can double up as I've done, and I'm going to do now on some of the guys that Aaron picked. That's fine. I mean, because, look, we don't know our lists. We didn't know our lists ahead of time, so it's good to have the same thoughts on some players. Here we go. My next 5 are as follows. Matthew Arnone, Rocco Romeo, Tyler Pasher, Kamal Miller, and Jarek Whiteman. That is my 20. Steve, you're on the clock.
Oh, I'm back here. Okay, because I'm going to take a flyer on a bit of a reclamation project on Elmer Jigalai, who's had some great years in League One Ontario.
Yep.
From London, Ontario. I think that, I've seen him play, and he has some great instincts around the net. I think that maybe he can get a second chance somewhere. If he can take guys, I'm going to go back to Michael Cox. Another guy I think deserves another chance at a higher level. He's done really well with Orlando. Mark Anthony Kay would be another player I'm going to take, just for his experience now with the national side going up there. Might take a couple of more flyers on a couple of players I was thinking. I had Master Catcher on my list too, who Aaron already grabbed just for the year he's having in USL, with Colorado Springs. And, looking as well at probably the last one I was going to take that you took, Anthony, was Max Ciso, just because, again, versatility on the left side can play a variety of roles for you.
Aaron, you're on the clock. Your turn.
I go with Brian Wright from New England, Manny Apricio, who's now playing in the 3rd Division in Spain, Dwayne Ewert, who is with Durham in League One Ontario, Boy Fillet, who's with the University of Calgary, and Shane Rosary, who's was with Jacksonville and is now in junior college in the States.
Tell us about that last player again from Jacksonville. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's a 98-born boy, and I think my son played against him when he was up here in Ontario. Am I off on that, or is that the boy?
No, that would be correct. He was actually signed by Jacksonville as an 18-year-old and was within the system for 2 years, and is now at the... sorry, you can go.
Sorry, but he's a dual citizen. He considers himself more American than Canadian.
Okay. He's now playing at junior college in Florida and already has 2 goals and 7 assists for 3 games. So,
yeah.
Like Ewert and like a lot of the guys on my list, he just has, and almost like Hudson Boakai, there is a bit of downside just because they're still learning the game, but the upside and potential is incredible, so that's why I like them.
Guys,
Jaime's really interesting because he was born in New York, grew up in Toronto, but was really pushing hard to get in the American program. I just don't think it worked out for him.
Aaron, your last 5 picks of this CPL fantasy draft.
I would go with Elliot Simmons at MK Dons in England, Jonathan Amu at University of Guelph, Bernardine Bourgeau from ex-player from FC Montreal, currently not with the team, Mario Kovacic with Vaughan, and then Niba McDonald, who used to play for FC Toronto, now in Slovakia, FC Neka.
Guys, we're going to wrap it up, but I'm going to give you one player that you can choose off the list that you gave me that you believe could be destined after a year in CPL to go play in MLS or in Europe. One player each. Steve, we'll go with you.
Wow, okay. I'm thinking of the guys I'm picking. I'm going to go with one of the keepers. I think if Tyson Farrago gets a look, I mean, if you could see him play, it's not just it's his distribution with the ball, which is unreal, which is already better than a lot of MLS keepers out there. I think he just needs a little more seasoning. But Tyson, I think if anyone's seen him handle a ball, it's crazy. If an NFL team is looking for a punter or a field goal kicker, they could get him, no problem.
Aaron?
This is a name I didn't mention, and he's actually not Canadian, but he does have an interest of playing here, and that's Niba McDonald, who played with North Toronto League One Ontario.
Yep.
He's currently in Slovakia now, but he has expressed an interest of remaining in Canada and playing for Canada, and I'm shocked that no MLS team took a chance of him this summer. He's by far, in the last year, the best player I've seen live, and certainly MLS quality right now.
Now, Aaron, Niba, if I'm not mistaken, I read a story somewhere that Cameroon could have interest in him in the national team. Now, I shake my head because if Cameroon can bring a guy like Niba McDonald on, where are we, Canada, on all this?
Sure. Yeah, no. I worked with people over the winter who were trying to get him looked at by MLS clubs, and it was just ridiculous because, if you look at the alternatives that some of these teams brought in, you shake your head. But, but the good thing is he's a great person, and as I said, he was really excited when he played here, and he would be really interested in playing in the CPL.
And my pick is as follows, and I don't even know if he's going to get into the CPL. I believe this young man will get drafted maybe in the 2nd round in MLS, maybe in the late 1st round, and that is Kamal Miller. I believe Kamal Miller could get drafted, so that's why I'm hesitant to put him in CPL. But if he does get to CPL, I believe Kamal Miller will be destined for MLS or even Europe. And so that's my pick. Guys, outstanding. Really appreciate you both made it time to join us. Steve, we're going to get you on next week or the week after to talk about CPL. Big meetings taking place yesterday and today. A lot to talk about. I'm not at liberty to talk about it yet, but I will soon. Aaron, thank you. Keep up the great stats. And as we let you go, both of you, Steve, where can people follow you to read all your stuff? And as well, Aaron. Steve, you go first.
You You can catch the site, the11.ca. It's the11.ca. Follow me at Steven Sandor. And yes, and you can catch me on FC Edmonton Broadcast. I do the color. So, yeah, I always have that bias toward the Eddies.
Outstanding. Aaron?
On Twitter, I'm EMB Sports, and I also write articles, and there should be a couple coming out for Red Nation Online.
Outstanding. Guys, thanks again, and keep up the great work. That is Aaron Nielsen and Steven Sandor. Guys, thank you so much. My producer behind the scenes, Jordan Caprice, you knocked it out of the park. Wonderful graphics, wonderful work. You coordinated all. Well done to Jordan Caprice, my producer. Well done, and thank you to Joey Alfieri of TSN 690. We talked about Gilardino. Leo Molinelli of Omni News. Colin Elmes of TSS Academy. John Eden of Canucks Abroad. Outstanding, outstanding site. A lot of guys that help him out. Well done to John Eden. And as we just said, Aaron Nielsen and Steven Sandor. But more importantly, you out there, God bless you. Thank you so much for this show tonight that you watched and you enjoyed. And I hope that we get your 20 players. Tweet me at @FordTotera. My producer, Jordan, hopefully will clip it out and we will tweet it out later tonight. Thank you. And again, join us Monday and Wednesday, always live, never ever pre-taped. Good night.